Have you ever wondered why we do the things we do? Why a child keeps asking for candy at the store? Or why a dog barks every time the doorbell rings? Our actions or behaviors are not random. They happen for a reason. Most of the time, we repeat behaviors because they get us something we want. This something could be attention from a parent, a tasty treat, or the removal of something we don't like. In the world of behavior analysis, we call this process reinforcement. Reinforcement is the fuel that keeps a behavior going. When a behavior is followed by a good outcome, we are more likely to do it again in the future. Understanding this connection between behavior and its consequences is the first step to changing it. If we want to encourage a good behavior, like a child cleaning their room, we can provide a positive consequence like praise or extra screen time. If we want to stop an unwanted behavior, we need to look at the consequence that is keeping it alive. Behavior modification is all about carefully managing these consequences to help people learn new, more helpful ways of acting. This presentation will focus on one very important tool for reducing unwanted behavior. It's called extinction. In the simplest terms, extinction is the process of stopping a behavior by no longer providing the reinforcement that was maintaining it. Think of it like a vending machine. If you put your money in every day and get a soda, you will continue to use that machine. Now imagine one day the machine is broken. You put your money in, but no soda comes out. You might try it again, but if it still doesn't work, you will eventually stop putting money into that machine. The behavior has undergone extinction because the reinforcement, the soda, was removed. It is very important to understand that extinction is not the same as punishment. Punishment involves adding something unpleasant after a behavior, like scolding a child or taking away something pleasant, like grounding a teenager. Extinction is different. It doesn't add a negative consequence. It simply removes the positive one that was already there. For example, if a child whines to get their parents' attention, the parent's attention is the reinforcer. To use extinction, the parent would stop giving attention when the child whines. If a student makes jokes in class to get laughs from classmates, the laughter is the reinforcer. Extinction would involve the classmates no longer laughing at the jokes. So, the core definition of extinction is this. A behavior that was previously reinforced no longer results in the reinforcing consequence, and therefore, the behavior stops happening in the future. It's a gentle but effective way to reduce unwanted actions by breaking the link between the behavior and its reward. This opens the door for teaching a new, more appropriate behavior that can be reinforced instead. When you first start using extinction, you might notice something surprising and often frustrating. The behavior you are trying to stop suddenly gets worse. This is called an extinction burst. Think back to our vending machine example. When you put your money in and the soda doesn't come out, what do? You don't just walk away immediately. You probably press the button again, maybe harder. This is an extinction burst. A child who is being ignored might start whining louder or even escalate to yelling. An employee who used to get quick help might send 5 emails in a row when they don't get a response. An extinction burst is a normal and predictable part of the process. If the parent gives in during an extinction burst, they have just made the problem much worse. They have accidentally taught the child that regular whining doesn't work anymore, but really loud whining does. The key is to remain consistent and ride out the burst. As long as you continue to withhold the reinforcement consistently through this phase, the burst will pass, and the behavior will then begin to decrease steadily. It's a hill you have to climb before you can go down the other side. The extinction burst is actually a good sign. It means that what you are doing is working. The individual has noticed that the reinforcer is no longer present. It also often comes with other behaviors, like trying new tactics to get the same reward. These are all part of the burst. If you persist, the behavior calms down, the burst passes, and the behavior fades. Not all behaviors are equally easy to extinguish. Some behaviors weaken quickly once the reinforcement is removed, while others persist for a long time. This tendency for a behavior to continue even after extinction is applied is called resistance to extinction. Imagine 2 rats. One receives a pellet every time it presses a lever, resulting in continuous reinforcement. The second rat gets a pellet only sometimes, intermittent reinforcement. If we turn off the food dispenser for both rats, which stops first? The first rat will notice and stop relatively quickly. The second rat keeps pressing for a long time because it was used to intermittent rewards. This is like playing a slot machine. Intermittent payoffs make behavior highly resistant to extinction. Behaviors maintained on intermittent schedules, such as gambling and checking phones, are highly resistant to extinction. A child who is sometimes given a cookie when they tantrum will be much harder to stop than one always given a cookie. This is why consistency is so important when using extinction. Even after a behavior has been successfully extinguished, it can suddenly reappear. This is spontaneous recovery, the ghost of an old habit coming back for a visit. A dog may jump once when a guest arrives, weaker and shorter than before, then settle. If the dog jumps, the guest should withhold attention and wait for 4 paws on the floor. Resurgence occurs when a new appropriate behavior is taught but fails, and the old behavior briefly returns. It's falling back on an old habit when the new one isn't reinforced, but with consistent extinction, the new behavior strengthens over time. Think about a person trying to stop checking their phone for notifications every couple of minutes. The reinforcement is seeing a new like, message, or email, that little feeling of validation. To use extinction, the person turns off all notifications. Initially, they may experience an extinction burst, picking up the phone more frequently and feeling anxious. Weeks later, in a meeting, they might suddenly feel a strong urge to check. That's spontaneous recovery. If they resist or check and see nothing, the urge will pass and the behavior stays extinguished. In class, Maria frequently calls out answers without raising her hand. The teacher realizes she has been reinforcing this by saying, "That's right, Maria." She decides to only call on students with raised hands and ignores the calling out. That's extinction. She reinforces the desired behavior, raising a hand while withholding attention from calling out. Consider Sam, who screams whenever his parents are on the phone. The screaming gets immediate attention. A behavioral analyst figures out attention reinforces the screaming. The plan: 1. Extinction for the screaming, and 2. Teach an alternative. A quiet activity that earns a story later. At first, the screaming gets worse, louder, and throws a toy, but the parents stay consistent and withhold attention. After days and weeks of consistency, the screaming episodes shorten, and Sam plays quietly to earn a story. If a scream reappears later, the parent follows the plan. No attention, calm continuation of the call, and the scream fades quickly. In conclusion, extinction is a fundamental and powerful tool for behavior change, not punishment, but rather the precise removal of the reinforcer. By breaking the link between action and reward, we reduce problem behaviors and create space for positive behaviors to grow. Use extinction with consistent withholding plus reinforcement for alternatives. It's ethical, effective, and empowering. Thanks for watching Chapter 5, Extinction. Subscribe for more ChapterCast textbook chapter video breakdowns. See you next time.